Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
So we're in the week of the June Solstice portal, and we're getting closer and closer on our northern hemisphere to the longest day in the year, actually, with the sun shining. So, and the sun is shining here in this part of Europe.
Mhm.
So, and as we move into this June Solstice portal, which is an extremely important portal, you may also be feeling the energies that are building up. We do actually, and the consciousness of the spiritual sun will certainly be at its height during this portal. And it's also for this reason that we have been guided to put out the call for the Heliopolis program, we call it, which is actually a program that is about healing the abuse of any kind of temple lineages. So from whatever culture they come, and this call is really a call for participation. So maybe you can say something, because we have received questions from several people who said, like, why Heliopolis in this specific healing program? Do you want to address that, Anna?
Yeah. Well, we often don't consciously understand why we're guided by Mary Magdalene to share certain themes and certain fields of consciousness in real time. What we do know from experience that when we are in perfect trust of our guidance and we look back in time, then her guidance is always perfectly orchestrated on so many different levels. So we trust in that. And when this guidance came through and this material came through, these fields of consciousness, this was no exception, that we really we ourselves didn't know. And we'll get into what Heliopolis is as a center and why the significance of Heliopolis in this work, this healing work that's coming up. We'll get into that in a little bit, but one of the things that we know and we want to mention is that there has been really a quantum shift in the operating system of Gaia in the last 3 months. I mean, you must have felt this, that something significantly has changed. And we have been working with that quantum shift, that quantum leap, to become aware of what all it means and to be able to align consciously with it. And it's we're still working with it, but the one thing that is for sure is that past trauma that may still have somehow been tolerable to carry in the ancient operating system is becoming more and more uncomfortable and impossible to carry. So when we commit to healing this trauma, we also commit to a massive leap in liberation. And what becomes what feels like an impossible situation for us at where we are is actually then becomes the path of our highest potential when we move beyond the impossibility, when we do the healing work that is required to open that higher field of potential.
Yeah, and how much of our trauma is on a collective scale caused by the brutalities that happened in any kind of temple tradition. I mean, if you think of it, that's a place that is so pure, that's so full of spirit, and that's in these places where we were so open, vulnerable, and committed to spirit and to the highest possible timeline, that in those places specifically, and I mean, there's many reasons for that. One of them, of course, the fall of consciousness, but that these things happen in these places that have caused such a trauma with maybe a majority of humanity, because there comes in, distrust. There comes in feelings of unsafety. I mean, so many things happened, and I think many of us know this feeling. And unfortunately, though we are in an awakening and ascension process, it's still, what's happening today in many religious traditions. We call that temple traditions. I mean, it's a generic word for any kind of religious direction that works with spirit as their baseline.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and with Pluto now cleaning out the whole world, retrograde again, I mean, we are asked to really face it and to understand that what we have accepted so long is not accepted anymore.
Yeah,
It's
and
over.
There's also another point which requires a lot of discernment. We've seen around us a lot of people who are interpreting triggers that happen in their lives as the stressors. But actually, they're just triggering a stress that has been carried by the system sometimes for thousands of years, a trauma. And actually, this is something important to discern, because sometimes the trigger itself is actually the path of the highest potential. So it does require a study, and not to be taking these triggers as the stressor necessarily, not to be taking that for granted. So that's internal research, and to really take the time, stop time to do the research required to see whether really it's this thing, or it's something that is coming from an older place.
Yeah, that comes in the question to ask ourselves always, like, is it true what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, or do I need to go deeper to really test it, to really feel it? Yeah.
So
anyway, we were talking about this. We were talking about this operation system, Anna, and I really think it's important people realize what's happening and what's out there.
It's really ready to be discovered. I mean, what I mean is to align our perception with this new operating system, so that it can really take root in manifesting in our daily lives in the material world, and dissolving everything that's out of alignment with the system, i.e., all the programs of separation, will naturally allow the unfolding of new perception and new consciousness. And this means that what may have seemed absolutely impossible before now becomes accessible, available, and comes with a whole new flow of energy and ease. And how many of us have had that experience before when we go through shifting consciousness?
I'm glad you say that, because I mean, during the day, I think there are so many moments that we feel, oh, but that's impossible. So we don't even go there. And this is also about consciousness, to really feel in all these habitual ways of going, like, is this really impossible, or do I believe it's impossible? And I mean, knowing that this system is changing, that it's time to let go of everything that's impossible, because we are the creators. So everything is possible. That's really a very promising message, I feel. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I also feel, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Petra.
Yeah, I was really, I mean, we've been meditating on it. We are always preparing the field before we have a big work like this coming up. And we felt in that preparation work that the higher realms are asking our global community that is connected to this channel that Mary Magdalene is holding with Jeshua to really support this healing work. And yet we have been feeling in the field there's a holding back because of decisions that are being made by the lower self rather than the higher self. So we put out a prayer that our whole community connects to the guidance of their higher self, because this is the part of ourselves that has an eagle eye view on our life trajectory and knows best how to navigate our path to expanded consciousness. I mean, it's in the best possible way. I mean, the higher self is connected with our cosmic potential. I mean, it's also the part of us that leads us on the path of our highest potential, whereas the lower self has a tendency to stay in limitation, in the illusion of comfort, the habits, to keep on to the habits. And the higher self leads us to go beyond what we currently see as our potential. I mean, this is about also trusting the divine, trusting the divine unfolding of a power within ourselves that we cannot at the moment imagine or feel or see. And yeah, when there's nothing to see, then comes in the trust and the belief, right? So to know that it's true at some level without knowing. I mean, this is one of our biggest practices, I feel, in these current times, to stay in trust no matter what.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to keep doing the work. Keep doing the work, which is in this particular program is at its core about healing our trauma from lives in the temples, as you mentioned. Because anyone who's here in this channel has lifetimes of experience in the temple work. So
Yeah.
in other words, working at balancing energies on Gaia, really balancing the energies and balancing the energies also in the galaxy for many of us who have memories in other places in the galaxy, in order that all sentient life exists in a field of love and peace and harmony. And with the fall of consciousness, there has been a lot of forgetting. So part of the healing is a remembering about what we're here really to do. And from our own inner archive, our own inner light library, to retrieve those memories so that we can realign with our power and with the tools that we inherently carry inside of ourselves.
Yeah, and I feel here comes also the question that we've received by so many people about why Heliopolis, what is it? We know that Heliopolis still exists, though it may not exist at a specific city anymore because Cairo completely took over the place. There's only a few spots still that you can find. But in the inner realms or in the light realms, in the etheric planes, there is still the resonance of Heliopolis and the Sophia Christ consciousness, that's how we call it, that is still very present there. And it is this resonance that we recognize in our inner fields, those who are connected to the Essene lineages, to other kind of solar traditions, to the temple traditions, no matter where, but in this case, specifically Egypt, which is really active with many people also at the moment. All that resonance somehow is calling us because there is a remembrance process of past lives happening. And it's a kind of like a bell that's ringing, like, it's time now. Remember, we would come back, and we are here to heal all of the traumas that couldn't be healed at the time. So we have now the opportunity to heal this ancient trauma so that we can step into this much deeper level of our mastery. And also, for many of us, maybe all of us, the reason for being incarnated on Gaia in this time. And I want to say something also about past lives in relationship to Atlantis and Lemuria, because we do know that many who have experienced lives in Lemuria or pre-Lemurian times and also in Atlantis. There's many that have arrived actually in Heliopolis. So it's also a kind of really a solar conscious center of the spiritual cosmic sun, by the presence of all those beings that had a consciousness that was at a specific, we call it dimensional level, and that has been stored in Heliopolis. There's also other places around the world, but Heliopolis was really a driving force, if you will, in the temple traditions around the globe, and many gathered there to bring this enormous consciousness in a kind of an amplified field in his portal. And among them, by the way, Jeshua and Mary Magdalene, we know they have been initiated from young age on in these places. So we don't particularly know where Heliopolis comes in, because it could have been other places too, but these are definitely some of the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. And we know also that we often have symptoms. There's a lot of people having symptoms of tiredness or other kinds of symptoms that are very uncomfortable. Often these symptoms kind of dissolve when we tap into our underlying, never-ending, infinite source of energy. which happens when our system is not occupied by maintaining in place this crystallized trauma that we maintain either in the physical body or in the emotional body, sometimes in the mental body, and sometimes even at the level of the soul. And so when we heal the trauma within ourselves, energy is made available to us that is actually our nourishment or our fuel for our own hero and heroine's journey, and also for our collective human hero's journey, heroine's journey, because that's really, we're doing this individually and collectively. So we may be suffering from many different symptoms, and it's when we release this huge amount of energy that it takes to keep in place the trauma and the old programs. We are really nuclear powerhouses at the basis. We were built to have huge amounts of energies to create. So that's what we're remembering.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, and through the Magdala force that we feel behind us, bringing all these transmissions that we so generously received, I mean, through the divine alchemy of these higher fields of consciousness, unfunctional patterns are dissolved, and making way for this higher patterning that the source consciousness is offering us in line with the universal evolution. And in that way, we open up to a way greater base of source intelligence, and to be really galactic citizens in a much wider sense.
And I want to say something about that, Petra, because sometimes people wonder how healing happens. And this is part of the great mystery. I think this is really part of the divine feminine force that's coming back, the divine feminine power that's coming back, because this power of healing, this power of alchemy, these higher fields of consciousness, we don't actually have language or full understanding how they work. We're just starting to remember them. But the one thing that we do know is that healing takes place. And though we can't explain how fully, we have a lot of different explanations, lines of explanations, but it's still somehow part of the mystery because it's so individual. And this is what is so miraculous, is that we can step into these fields of consciousness through these kinds of programs. And we know that when we move out the other side, when we move through the process, that we will not be the same as when we arrived in the process. It's always that way.
Well, that brings again for me the remembrance of Heliopolis, because this was this glorious city of the sun, the birthplace of the mystery school tradition. And we often hear, why is it called a mystery? I mean, we're talking here about the great mystery, not that it should keep a secret, that it should kept a secret. It's about honoring the great mystery and be in full alignment with the great mystery to reveal itself. And I mean, as we are in our awakenings transition as humanity, we will still connect to Heliopolis in a way that we will see revelations and mysteries being revealed of the hidden records of consciousness that are only just starting to open for us. And these records of consciousness have been put there for many reasons. And I think one of the biggest is that our consciousness was at a specific level as humanity there, that it should be protected, because otherwise it would have taken on a direction that is not preferable. But we do know that Heliopolis was a center in which there was a conscious alignment with the great central cosmic sun. I mean, even the word, the Helios meaning the sun, and the polis, the city. I mean, the name itself shows already how deeply the connection was. And we know it from the obelisk that we still know from this beautiful place that are still present, how strong that temple city was, and how it was an example for many other solar and sun cities, but also for many traditions actually that followed Heliopolis.
And with regular ceremonies, connecting consciousness to the consciousness of Ra, to the consciousness of Isis, and many other higher dimensional beings.
Yeah.
And, and so we're really it's such an interesting time, because we're really immersing ourselves in these mystical energies of the June solstice, this incredibly powerful portal of transformation. And at the basis, by harnessing the energies of this portal time, we are held in a wave of love and light that allow us to accelerate our liberation. And we are harnessing these forces of light, integrating them into our new operating system, whose foundation is what Ra actually has been teaching us, and that is that we are each the creator of our reality. We are each a solar being that illuminates the world from within ourselves, and we are bringing in, as we solarize ourselves, as we move into the solar consciousness more and more in more and more powerful ways, we are bringing in beautiful new evolutionary possibilities for the enlightenment of the whole.
Yeah, beautiful, beautifully said. So I think this is enough for today, but we would like to invite you to join us on this path and really feel into what your highest self is guiding you. In this case, you can still register for the Healing Heliopolis program. And I mean, as the energies builds, it's a perfect time to dive in and make the most of this auspicious solar moment, no matter where you are actually on the world. If you're in the summer solstice or in the winter solstice, it's a very sacred portal, and each and every one will bring its contribution to this beautiful work. So we hope that we will meet you in this place. You can still register anytime. You will receive the transmissions through our system, all of them. So, and the registration link is with this video. And if you would like to share this video because you feel that others also need to be aware of it, please do so. You help us with finding all those beings that are out there that we still feel that we are looking for. So please do so, and we love it when we see you with us in this program. Thank you very much, and of course, have a wonderful week of solstice celebrations. Have a wonderful day.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Have a beautiful day.